with Charlie King, owner of King Green, and we're going to talk about some of the services he provides today. It's been a little wet, a little rainy, but that's always good when it comes time to aerate and overseed, is that right?
Absolutely. Anytime you're overseeding, you want to make sure to try to have watered your lawn if at all possible. And if the good Lord sends us some rain, which he hadn't lately, but he did today, you're just a little bit luckier. The whole object of aeration is to punch some holes in your soil. That allows water, air to penetrate the soil. And in the case of aeration and overseeding, it allows some soil up on top of the ground. And what gets your seed to germinate is seed to soil contact.
Charlie, we're talking about overseeding fescue. Let's be clear that folks know what we're talking about. We're moving into that time of year, September, October, when it's your prime time. You guys are going hard at it all day trying to get the fescue seed out there. After the summer we've had, the drought conditions, folks' lawns are looking kind of rough. It's even more important this year, I would think.
It absolutely is, Billy. This lawn that we're on today has been well watered throughout the year. The homeowner lives on the lake, so they've been able to pump from the lake. And it's in pretty good shape. It doesn't require a lot of overseeding, but even though it doesn't, we're still going to aerate it, and then we're going to apply a minimal amount of seed, about 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet, just to take care of the seed, the grass that died over the summer months from disease and just from plain old heat stress.
Sure. Well, you know my solution to this. We could just kill all this grass and make flower beds out here.
Yeah, but then you have to prune all day.
That's right, and you have to pull weeds and everything else. See?
I know. Well, tell us about some of this equipment you've got here.
We brought out 3 pieces of equipment today. This tractor here, we use it on our larger lawns. As you can see down here at the bottom, it's got tines or coring tines that we use. And they will go in and out, straight up and down, and they pull out great cores. It's a fantastic machine. Unfortunately, we can only use it on larger lawn and larger turf areas.
Can we see it run, Charlie?
Sure, turn it on, Kenny.
Boy, that does punch some holes, I imagine.
Well, as you can see, when it's sitting down flat, it pulls a great core. We're trying to get 2.5 to 3 inches. We would take 4 if we could, but we would probably end up tearing up sprinkler systems and underground dog fences and things like that.
Well, I do know enough about grass, although I admit I don't know a whole lot. Don't really want to know a whole lot about it. But there is a difference between a spike aerator and a core aerator. That's important, right?
Absolutely. And you'll notice these are hollow cores. They actually pull some of the soil out of the ground and deposit it back up on top. A spike aerator does nothing more than compact the soil as you roll it over the lawn.
Compact it even more than it already was, because it's just pushing soil out of the way.
It's just pushing soil in and packing it down. This second piece of equipment I've got, this is really what we do about 95% of our lawns with. It's a handheld core aerator. Again, notice that these are hollow. And as we roll it across the lawn, or as we don't roll it, as the motor rolls it, it will pick up cores and pull them out. If you'll notice, the front end has got a big barrel on the front, okay? And the whole key to that is we put water in it. Then when we push down on it, rather than the human being doing all the work, we've got gravity working for us, and it pokes as deep a hole as possible. Again, a lot of this depends on the preparation from the homeowner. The homeowner needs to mow their lawn. They don't have to scalp it. Just mow it. Get it down to a manageable height so that after we seed it, they don't have to mow for a couple of weeks. If at all possible, mark your sprinkler heads, mark your dog wires, your underground cable TV, anything that you don't know where it is, because folks, if you don't find it, we will.
Yeah.
And at that time, is that when you would also do lime and fertilizer?
We normally lime our fescues during the hot summer months, more because we don't have a lot to do on fescues at that time of year. Then that's, lime is good any time of the year. We would be putting out a fertilizer either before or after our seeding or along with the seed.
Sure. Now, Charlie, question for you on this piece of equipment, on this powered aerator. I know that a lot of homeowners might think, well, I can go rent one of these and do it myself. Well, from my experience, that's a heck of a lot of work, and you really have to be careful running something like this.
Is there a story you should tell
Well,
about
I don't,
using this yourself?
I didn't have cable TV for about 4 days after I rented one of these, and since then I hadn't used one. So the point is to have a trained technician who can come out. When you put a pencil to it, you're going to be just about as cheap to let your guys do it and have a professional do the job.
Billy, if you count the ibuprofen or aspirin you're going to need the following day, you're even cheaper. This thing is not difficult to run, but it is hard work. And, you know, we make a fair profit. Profit is not a dirty word, but, you know, we earn every penny that we make.
Absolutely.
The third item we brought out here today is a spreader. And, you know, I've seen people for years with their croaker sack and their seed and their straw or fertilizer, and they're spreading it by hand. By properly opening this spreader, it's got a calibrator that we use. This allows us to get the right size opening for the right amount of product, depending on whether we're spreading seed, fertilizer, lime, or whatever. And if you'll notice that the impeller down at the bottom, it spins. Now there's two types of spreaders. One is called a rotary spreader, which this is, and it'll give you about a 6 or 8 foot swath, depending on the size and weight of the particle that you're distributing. The other is a drop spreader, and it drops seed or fertilizer exactly where it goes.
Yeah.
Now,
Easy to make a mistake with one of those.
it really is. Now, where we do find a use for them is when we're doing bed lines, and this lawn has a lot of beds. So in order not to get it in the beds, you either have to be very, very careful with this, or you can run a drop spreader around the edge and then do the center areas with the rotor.
Yeah. Now this is another piece of equipment. You can find these at your big box store, but for most homeowners, they're going to buy one that's a much lighter weight, plastic tires, and very difficult to keep up. I mean, that's the thing. You could go out and buy one of these and spend several $100s, but for a homeowner, they're going to use this, what, maybe 3 or 4 times a year?
Billy, this particular spreader is about $450, I think. It's got a deflector so that if we do want to edge the side, we can run that down and we edge the side. It's made with replacement parts. Certainly it's got the rain cover on it. That's a professional quality piece of equipment, and it's very rare that we throw one away unless it falls off a truck and somebody runs over it. And even then we'll use the spare parts.
Well, why don't we go out here and take a look at this fescue lawn?
We just saw the aerator work, Charlie, and let's see what the results are here.
Billy, this is what you're looking for. Good 2 to 3 inch cores that are coming out. It loosens up the soil, gives you some air and water movement down in. And then like we said, most importantly, it gives you some soil to get seed to soil contact so that your lawn will germinate.
Well, and in particular, in our clay soils, as many times as you run a lawnmower across there, you're on the lawn playing ball with your kids, whatever it is you're doing, our clay soils compact heavily over time, and so this process helps to alleviate that.
It really does, and once a year is a minimal for aeration. You know, the longer I'm in this business, and I've been doing lawn care since 1978, all I hear from the professionals, and when I say that, the research scientists at the University of Georgia, aerate, aerate, and then aerate. It really does work. Billy, one last thing I wanted to talk to people about. The state of Georgia requires that every bag of seed sold in the state have a seed tag. It tells you how much seed is in the bag. No, it doesn't tell you how much seed is in the bag. It tells you the quality of the seed that's in the bag. It tells you the germination rate, what kind of weed seeds are in it, other crop, noxious weeds. We don't worry so much about germination rate at King Green because we can always put out a little bit more seed. But we want clean seed. And if you don't buy high quality, clean seed from a reputable producer or reseller, you will be fighting weeds. A lot of times it's grassy weeds that even people at King Green have trouble controlling after they're up.
Sure.
So spend an extra $1, buy a good bag of seed, spend the time to aerate it. And if you can't do it yourself, hire it out. It's money well spent.
So what you're saying is when you go to the store and buy a cheap bag of grass seed, what you're getting is a lot of filler in there that when it sprouts, it's actually weeds instead of what you intended to buy.
Well, I don't think it's so much filler, Kelly, is that it was just in the field when the crop was planted, when they harvested the seed, they inadvertently got it. It means they didn't spend the time to develop a clean field.
Right.
So we're talking about looking at other crop seed, weed seed, noxious weed seed. All those numbers need to be as low as possible.
As low as possible, and go seed tag to seed tag. You will see a difference.
Okay. Well, hey, Charlie, tell us how folks can get a hold of you if they're interested in King Green and maybe having you guys come out and do some seeding for them.
Well, first of all, visit our webpage, www.kinggreen.com, or call us on the telephone, 770-536-7611.
All right. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.